Live.
We are live on Google Hangouts on Air, but Steve says I can't say hi to Alpha Geek Radio yet. All right, he's got his sound on, so I can tell something's talking in there. Got your phone making noise? That's good, dear.
Yeah, I probably should turn that down.
Yep. Well,
so
this should be.
I think you're live on Alpha Geek.
All right, live on Alpha Geek Radio. Hello, children. Can you say save from there? Yeah, save.
I don't. Oh, there you are. Okay, gotcha.
All right. I have one problem. We have Lindsay's dog Dodger here, so he's a boisterous young dog, and he sort of terrorizes the cats. So they're up here in the room with me today, and right now it looks like they're digging in my luggage. So maybe I'll be okay, but I'm a little worried that they're going to end up on the desk here because that's where Grace likes to hang out. So we'll see how well that works. In
Kitty
fact,
cam.
What's that?
Kitty cam.
Yeah, probably. I tweeted today that the best reason to learn voiceover is so you know how to turn it off when your cat turns it on when you're out of town. They were up here and came back and my Mac was talking to me, but luckily I knew how to get rid of it. All right. All right. Yes, Grace knows how to turn on voiceover. Okay, that one's making noise. Turn that Mac off. Are your backups off, Steve?
No, I always back up, but I can pause it for you.
Mine is going to start in 48 minutes, but now I think in order to stop CrashBind, you have to start it and then you have to pause it, and it won't let me do either one. Oh well, I probably just made it start backing up. Oh well. Yeah, she definitely does, Sandy. All right, let's start doing a little recording here. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Ada's on the prowl. All right, goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye, Gracie.
All right, here we go. Kevin's going to send you a 100 gigabyte file right now. Thanks. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, July 3rd, 2016, and this is show number 582. Well, if you didn't catch Chit Chat Across the Pond yet from this week, you are in for a treat. My guest is Andy Anatko, a technology columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times and regular guest on MacBreak Weekly and a whole bunch of podcasts of his own. You might have thought I'd have him come on to talk about things like technology, but instead I wanted to talk to him about journalism. We talk a little bit about his career and how he became a journalist, and then we talk about the trend of what I call regurgitation sites and how that might affect the future of journalism. Andy is delightfully thoughtful and entertaining as always. Remember, Chit Chat Across the Pond is a separate feed now, so do a search in your favorite podcatcher or just give a listen over at podfeet.com and look for episode number 445. Well, you're probably planning your summer vacation if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Part of planning is buying supplies for the trip. As you buy sunscreen, flip-flops, and beach umbrellas through Amazon, it would be great if you'd start by going to podfeet.com and clicking on the Amazon affiliate link image on the left-hand side. If you do, a small percentage of your spending will go to help the show. I can't buy my stuff on my own affiliate link, so I always go to the SMR podcast affiliate link for all of my Amazon needs. Wow, my voice is low. How low can you go?
Richard snuck in. I don't know if he's under the wire or not.
All right, Richard. We gave everybody a pass. By the way, Sandy said everybody has a hall pass for the whole summer. But September, everybody's got to get back to being on time. So it's okay. Richard's fine. 45. Well, you're probably... Don't worry about the fact that there was music during that.
I never do.
Don't worry your pretty little head about it. A new thong? Oh, God. I snuck another review in here that Steve has not gotten to read.
Oh, no. I apologize in advance.
Yep. I'm going to be talking about this little piece of plastic. So this is for the Apple Pencil. Slide it on there. And now that little tab just happens to be the tab. That's the word I was looking for. I called it an insert. That goes into the Lightning port on your iPad Pro. And now you can carry, if you align it correctly, now you can carry your pencil around on your iPad Pro for $8. Why is Kevin yelling Steve? See? It's a little too long.
Yeah.
The pencil's a little bit long for the iPad Pro, the smaller one, but it works really well on the big one. Isn't that cute? $8. All right, here we go. Rose is here.
Rose.
Hi, Rose. Okay, starting up. Goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye.
The Apple Pencil is a marvelous accessory for the iPad Pro. I'm no artist, but I keep my pencil close at hand because of how easy it is to use the handwriting to type using the MyScript Stylus third-party keyboard that I told you about before. I hear from a lot of iPad Pro owners, that while they like the pencil, the fact that there's no way to stick it to the iPad is a problem. They forget the pencil at home, or they fear they're going to lose it. It's possible that pencil clips, P-E-N, I don't like that whole thing. I heard some ticking too. Did you hear that? I heard some clicking.
I didn't hear it, but if you heard it, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, Brett's here. You weren't supposed to be here, Brett. You said you were going to be off. That's why we didn't call you up and remind you. The Apple Pencil is a marvelous accessory for the iPad Pro. I'm no artist, but I keep my pencil close at hand anyway because of how easy it is to use handwriting to type using the MyScript Stylus third-party keyboard I told you about. I hear from a lot of iPad Pro owners that while they like the pencil, the fact that there's no way to stick it to the iPad is a problem. They forget the pencil at home, or they worry that they're going to lose it. It's possible that Pencil Clips from Radtech is the solution. Pencil Clips is spelled Pencilclipz, and again from Radtech. Pencil Clips is simply a small plastic sleeve that you slide onto your pencil. It has a small tab that slides into the lightning port, holding the pencil tightly up against the side of the iPad. It also sports a handy pocket clip, which will hold the pencil in your shirt pocket. Pencil Clips is only $7.95 US, so it's worth taking a look. Radtech sent me the Pencil Clips, and it's pretty cool. My big fear was that the insert to the lightning port would easily break off, that little tab that goes in the lightning port. And if it broke off, it would lodge inside the connector port, and I was worried about that. I used the Pencil Clips for about 3 weeks straight, and the insert stayed firmly connected to the sleeve and did not break off. There's a tiny instruction sheet included in which they strongly suggest you avoid twisting the Pencil Clips as you pull it out. That would be pretty unnatural to do that because it's easy and natural to pull it out straight, so my fears were put to rest after using it for a while. Since I carry a purse, I don't really have a strong need for the Pencil Clips. I have a handy little makeup kit that has no makeup in it, of course, in which I carry my cables and portable charger, and the Apple Pencil fits in there nicely. I don't have shirts with front pockets either. Heck, most of my pants don't even have pockets. I think that having the pocket clip would be a huge advantage for men since they do have a front pocket and they don't generally carry purses. The pocket clip makes the Pencil Clips the pocket clip on the Pencil Clips makes it a little bit clunkier, I think, than it needs to be, and the pencil less comfortable to hold as a result. I found that when I was using it regularly to store my pencil connected to my iPad, I would take the Pencil Clips off when I wanted to write. Luckily, it comes on and off just easily enough. I mean, you can slide it on and off, but it never slides off when you don't want it to. So I was able to take it off while writing. The Apple Pencil is actually slightly longer than the short side of the smaller iPad Pro. So even though the Pencil Clips is doing its job perfectly, your pencil might get knocked about because it's a little bit longer than the iPad Pro side. On the bigger iPad Pro, the pencil fits perfectly along the shorter slide when using the Pencil Clips. Bottom line, if you're having trouble keeping track of your Apple Pencil for your iPad Pro, I think it's worth $8 to try out the Pencil Clips from Radtech. I am not speaking naturally tonight. I feel clumsy. What's been going on here? Oh, how much longer till the birthday? Steve, I posted a bunch of pictures from the wedding. You could send them a link to a picture of Lindsay in there.
Are those publicly available?
They are. I sent an email to you. I did them using Dropbox, actually.
Okay.
Since they do have. Yes?
Where did you send the link? I'm sorry.
I sent it to you an email.
Okay.
Since they do have a front pocket clip on the Pencil Clip. Pocket. I'm glad I cut that. That was a big pop right there. Men, since they do have a front pocket and they don't generally carry purses. The pocket clip on the pencil clips makes it a little bit clunkier, I think, than it needs to be. All right. Here we go. All right, well, done with pocket clips. Next up is on Uber. Oh man, I got a lot of talking to do. It's going to get ugly. All right. Better keep going. One more sip. There's been a lot of discussion lately about ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft. Heck, there's even a discussion on whether these services fit the definition of ride-sharing. Maybe we should call them ride-hailing. I've been relatively silent on the podcast about this, but I stomp around the house having very strong opinions on them. In Los Angeles, taxi cabs are super creepy. The drivers drive dangerously and the cars are horrible. They're smelly with hard bench seats and a big wall right in front of your knees to separate you from the driver. Figuring out when they're going to show up is a nightmare too. We've had them not show up and we actually missed our flight to Hawaii one time. For the most part, the cab drivers have been highly unpleasant as well, so that's a nice feature. I had a woman yell at me once because I wanted her to close the window on the freeway because I was cold. We had a woman show up with her entire trunk filled with laundry. So she pulled all of it out, threw it on our driveway, put our luggage in, and then dumped her laundry back on top. And then, of course, that meant she had to reverse that process when we got to the airport. It was really revolting. We had one guy drive us home from the airport so dangerously that Steve pursued the arduous path of reporting him to this taxi association. It was not easy at all to figure out how to do that, but he was really angry because this guy definitely endangered our lives. Now, I'm not speaking for all cities, but in Los Angeles, I cringe at the thought of taking a taxi. And I only ever used to use it to go from the airport and to the airport because the other options were even worse. Steve and I also like to join wine. That is a bad transition. I go right from the airport to drinking. Options were even worse. Man, that voice is bad. Get rid of that. Is that door opening? Must just be the cats playing around. Steve and I like to enjoy wine while we're out to dinner, and before Uber, we never once called a cab so we could drink. Instead, one person got to enjoy the wine while the other had to be the designated driver. It's very sad for the designated driver, and we would try to cajole each other into taking our turn. Never once did it occur to us to call a cab. I've asked my friends, and none of them have ever called a cab in Los Angeles so they could drink in the evening. Now, you'll notice the one thing I haven't complained about is the price. The price always seemed fair to me at around $25 to get to the airport, which isn't bad for two people. It was absolutely everything else about the experience that I dreaded. And then along came Uber. I open the Uber app on my phone around a half hour before I want to leave and get an idea of how close the drivers are. That lets me know how far in advance I need to call one. I tap on the slider to choose an Uber X, which is the least expensive option, and if I put in a location, I can see the cost of my fare. I don't have to put in a location though. In a few seconds, I get a notification that my driver is on the way. The app shows me the driver's name, the driver's license plate, and color and type of car. I can see on a map where the driver is. It's a little car that moves around on the map, and track their location so I know when to be ready for them. I can even call them on the phone, which is necessary sometimes in busy areas where you're trying to connect, say, on a street corner. Now, here's where it gets even more wonderful. Every single Uber car we've been in has been clean and doesn't smell weird. I think because these cars are owned by the drivers, they kind of take more pride in their vehicles. Or maybe it's a requirement of Uber. I'm not really sure why. The cars are all relatively new, and even though I always choose the Uber X option, they're very nice cars with comfortable seats. They don't feel cheap. Steve and I have made a habit of always talking to our Uber drivers, asking them how long they've been driving and what they think of it. I think we've had one or two are disgruntled, but the rest tell us tales of interesting people they meet and of the intricacies of how Uber works and how they like being able to work on their own time. Oddly, it's very rare to find someone who has been driving for more than 6 months or a year for Uber, which that might be telling. Excuse me. Ah, this is going to be tough. I got to finish before my voice.
Hang in, Podfeet. You're doing good.
Got to finish before my voice
push right
down. Yep. We met one guy who told us he quit his taxi job just to drive Uber and how much more he likes it now. He said he was required to work 12-hour shifts as a taxi driver. Now he works when he wants to and when he can, and he's making just as much money. He told us that for sure. We met a guy who bought a nice car with his dad, and they take turns being Uber drivers in it. They make a killing on weekends when he drives the car for the bar scenes, and his dad makes good money driving it during the day. When you're done with your trip, the driver ends the transaction and you get to rate the driver. Remember I told you how arduous the process was for Steve to complain about the dangerous taxi driver? Not a problem with Uber. You get a 1 to 5 stars for an Uber driver, and if they get many more than a very few 4-star or lower ratings, they're kicked out. One fellow told us that a rating of below 4.7 gets you kicked out. So I kind of tend to give everybody a 5 unless they do something really bad. I know you won't believe me if I only tell you stories of rainbows and sunshine with Uber, so I should mention a few very bad experiences. We had one guy in San Francisco who was losing his ever-loving mind because there was traffic. What did he expect in San Francisco? I kept trying to calm him down. I said, we're not in any hurry. We're just going to a party. We don't have to be on time. But this guy kept yelling and screaming out the window at everyone. Made us very nervous. You can bet that he got a 1-star review. We also had a guy who picked us up late and didn't have enough gas to get us to the destination. I was really sad because it made us late to a surprise dinner for Lindsay, and she ended up figuring it out because we walked in so late. However, the guy didn't charge us for the time from when he stopped at a gas station until we got to the restaurant, and he saved us about $25. And I kind of felt bad for the guy. We took taxis in Las Vegas for the first day or so of CES, and when Dave Hamilton suggested we try taking Uber since they had just gotten permitted to work there, we waltzed past 45-minute long lines for taxis and had Uber drivers pull up in just minutes. Since this is a hot topic with taxi drivers, the hotels have you pick up Uber at a different location in front of the hotel. It's kind of like on the side where the taxis are in front. This was the first time I noticed the price because I had a really good frame of reference. We had been taking taxi drives of maybe 10 to 15 minutes to move between Las Vegas Strip hotels, and those were costing us around $15 plus tip. But it was only $8 in the Uber, and no tip is required or even an option in the app. I know you can give cash, but let's make that a longer discussion later. Since we were traveling geeks with Dave, Chuck Joyner, and Don McAllister, we started learning more about the app. Like, did you know you can split fares with the Uber app? Don figured this out, and it worked as long as you had the other person's phone number in your contacts. If Don paid the bill and split with us, it worked, but we weren't able to get a split working from our accounts to Don's international phone number. And we did suggest to Don that he did something to cause that because he could split with us, but we couldn't split with him. Anyway, it was another cool feature of Uber. Now, you haven't heard me mention Lyft very much, and there's a reason for that. We took it a couple times, but there was one feature I really hated. At least the last time I tried it, you were required to enter your destination. On Uber, you don't have to do that. On Lyft, drivers have the option of rejecting your ride, but more importantly, the app shows you being rejected. I hated that experience because it was a short fare, and I was rejected many times before someone agreed to take that fare. I've asked Uber drivers about it, and they say that with Uber, it's so competitive that you see a fare, you have to jump on it immediately to get it, so they don't reject the fares. Bottom line for me is that Uber has created a service on which I depend, to which I pay money, and for which I am highly appreciative. I can't speak statistically about jobs gained or lost, but I can say that I employ people for a service I never paid for before, taking me out to dinner. In a little bit, we're going to talk about self-driving cars as they relate to this subject. Okay, a little gap there. Kevin behaving himself, everybody?
Kevin never behaves himself.
Let's see, where is this? And if they get more, you get a 1 to 5 stars for an Uber driver. And if they get more, not making an easy spot for myself to. And if they get sounds. 5 stars for an Uber driver. And if they get more than a very few 4-star, there we go. Okay, what did I miss? Oh, the one place you can't do Uber is in Houston, Sandy. Houston made some rather onerous suggestion, or there was something about some extra level of background check of fingerprints or something that they made, and Houston just made this requirement. Uber and Lyft both said, we're out of here. So unfortunately, that's the one spot you won't be able to do it.
Well, that's why she said probably won't be using it.
No, she said might be a good option.
Oh, she did. You're right.
It's like the one place you can't.
I think there are a few others. Some cities are pretty.
Oh, a few other cities, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, good, Brett. That's Austin, not Houston. He's right. It is Austin. Do it, Sandy. It's fun. Me out to dinner. I don't like that ending spot.
Houston and Austin, they're all the same, right?
All Texas. Do I have a smear on my screen, or are my glasses smeary?
Camera.
Might be. The camera's smeary? All right, what's next? What am I supposed to be talking about now? Oh, we got a dumb question corner. Man, I'm kind of inclined to save that. How long have I gone? I'm only 11 minutes. I better do it. Okay. Where do I keep the dumb question corner music now?
In the dumb question corner.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think that is? That is in GarageBand jingles, maybe? Nope, look at that. How exciting is that? Okay, so we need to add a track here. And we'll throw some demo. Why do I always do separate tracks for stuff? To dinner. That's a little quick. Taking me out to dinner.
Dumb.
Sounds a little loud?
No, it's fine. It's just I haven't heard this in so long.
I know. Well, I'll do it together when I...
Good to hear Victor again.
Yeah. It's been a while. All right. Well, I'll play the music for Steve then. Taking me out to dinner.
Dumb.
Dumb questions. How do I? What is? How come I always have to? It's time for Dumb Question Corner.
All right. I did that whole thing about Uber because I hear so many people talking about Uber and then they go, oh yeah, well, I've never tried it. Or like, I did it once. Silly people. All right. Hope my voice holds up. This week's dumb question comes from David Bogdan from Japan. He wrote, when I send JPEG pic... Okay, you can't screw up that quickly.
Good start.
Shut up. This week's dumb question comes from David Bogdan from Japan. He wrote, when I send JPEG pics to my siblings, they give me all sorts of grief about not being able to open them up. I guess they only show up as thumbnails. The funny thing is that in their replies to me, I get the full JPEGs back and that I sent to them. Also funnier, the same pictures come out fine on my mom's Android tablet. I've been trying to figure out what is going on, but I haven't come up with anything. Well, this is one of those problems that probably has no good answer. We could spend a lot of time figuring out what kind of computers and phones they're on, what mail program they're using, and try to diagnose it on their end. That would take a lot of time and energy. So how about we solve this problem completely differently? Years ago, at least, one problem was that some email clients didn't like inline images, which is the default for Apple's Mail app. It looks nice that the images flow along with the text, but evidently that can cause some thumbnail problems. I'm not sure that's the culprit, though. My dear friend and NosillaCast New York Linda has Windows and uses AOL, and she verified that my travel logs from my adventures come across perfectly with the images flowing in line. So I don't know if that's the problem, but it's something to look at. I suggested to David that if he wanted to experiment with getting rid of inline images, he could quit Mail, open the terminal, and there's a command I've got in the show notes. It's one of those defaults write things to com.apple.mail. It says disable inline attachment viewing -bool yes. Anyway, like I said, you can read it in the show notes if you want to use this. Then when he reopens mail, he would now, instead of showing the real images, his recipients would see icons for each image and have to click on them to open them. If he got sick of that, or if it didn't fix the problem, he could reverse this process by replacing yes with no in that terminal command. The chances of that helping him seemed rather small, so I thought it'd be fun to solve it a different way. Since his siblings aren't using iPhones and Macs, normal iCloud photo sharing won't work for them. But it turns out there's still a way to include your non-Apple friends and relatives in iCloud photo sharing. I whipped open my trusty Clarify and I made a tutorial for him. You haven't heard those words in a while, have you? No, they're not back as an advertiser. I just still love that tool and use it all the time. The basic trick is that you create a shared album in Apple Photos, and after it's created, there's this tiny little icon in the upper right that looks like a person's head, where you can invite Apple users by email, but you can also create a public website. If you check that box, in a few seconds, you'll see a URL created that will work for anyone on any platform. When people visit the URL, they can go into full screen, run a slideshow, and even download the images. It's a really beautiful user interface. I put a link in the show notes to the full tutorial I made with images and annotations to walk you through it. I can hear you guys yelling into your podcatchers right now with solutions like Flickr and SmugMug and Google Photos. That's the way to go. Sure, those are all nice, but I think the iCloud photo sharing solution is really nice too. Go check it out and share with your friends, regardless of their tech persuasion. And I also know that I probably didn't in any way answer David's actual dumb question, and that I changed the title of this article to reflect the question that I wanted to answer. Oh, well, I can live with that. Okay.
Check out Sandy's response.
Let's see.
I love the tip.
Cab company's been around long enough?
No, up above. I love the tip Allison is talking about.
Oh, good. My husband's family always asks me to send shared photos separately. This will solve that problem. Fantastic. Good. What's funny is I should have mentioned Bob Goodrich, Steve's uncle, sent me a link about how he does it in Google Photos or in Dropbox. And I just experimented with it. We went to a wedding and I just shared them. I didn't use this technique. I used Dropbox. It's funny. I instinctively tried that. Let's hear this link here. Hi. Okay. I didn't say to go there. I said to go here. I'm going to hear the music again before. Taking me out to dinner.
Dumb questions. What is?
How come I always have to?
It's time for Dumb Question Corner.
This week's dumb question comes from David Bogdan from Japan. That wasn't bad. All right. I'm going to make it. I'm on the last article. We're really going to get philosophical now. There we go. Dropbox for some photos for friends. They couldn't figure out what to do with the link I'd sent. Oh, really? Maybe I should do it for iCloud photo sharing. Twisted Wave. It doesn't do multi-track. It does multi-channel. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Well, no, bad. I wish you were right. I wanted to be wrong. That was going to be more fun. Why didn't you do anything? Come on, let's go. Well, we talked about Uber earlier in the show, but now that Uber has revealed their first self-driving car, and we've got Google and Volvo and Tesla and probably Apple working on self-driving cars, I'd like to move from ride-sharing, hailing, to the self-driving car discussion. This is another one of those conversations that I stomp around the house having opinions about, but I've never written them up or really talked publicly about how I see this evolving. The part of the self-driving car evolution that interests me most is the human reaction to the idea. The technology will arrive much faster than our ability to accept giving up control of our cars, and certainly well in advance of the legislation. Let's talk about why that is. The biggest problem is that humans think they're excellent drivers. In a study in 1981 by Olia Svensson, 88% of the people sampled in the US and 77% of the Swedish participants put themselves in the top 50% of drivers for safety. Think about that. More than 80% of the people said they were better than average drivers. Right. The results of the study were later replicated in 1986 by McCormick, Walkley, and Green, who again found 80% of subjects thinking they're better than average drivers. But it gets better. 38% of drivers believe they were above average while texting in a study by car insurance company cheapcarinsurance.net. I can't say that one was a super scientific study because of the source, but it's backed up by other studies that tell us how many people do text while they're driving. They must think they're above average, right? Well, this phenomenon in psychology has a name. It's called illusory superiority. It's a cognitive bias whereby individuals overestimate their own qualities and abilities relative to others. We don't just do this about driving. We think we're smarter than average, we think we're better in our job performance, and we think our habits are healthier than others. Basically, we're delusional. What terrifies me is that I think I'm a below average driver, so I must be really dreadful. Okay, let's say you can't let go of this illusory superiority, that you really are the best driver on the road. But I hope I've convinced you that everyone else is delusional about their skills. I'm going to stop right there. Did you guys hear that firework just now? Did you hear that firework, Steve?
Yeah, and so did Dodger.
Okay. I'm thinking that might be on the recording.
I think I heard him come through. I assume the audience heard the big bang and probably Dodger barking.
Okay. Well, he should. Okay,
Yeah.
Big bang in the background. All right, let me go cut that. We don't just do this about driving. We think we're smarter than average. We think we're better in our job performance. And we think our habits are healthier than others. Basically, we're delusional. What terrifies me is that I think I'm a below average driver, so I must be really dreadful. Okay, let's say you can't let go. Yeah.
Definitely. I wanted to see if we could hear Dodger, though.
Okay, let's say you can't let go of this illusory superiority.
Yeah.
Yep, there he was. Well, he should bark at that.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't fault him for that at all.
Yeah, he's a good boy. You know, they've probably not met Dodger yet, have they?
No. Oh, we should introduce the audience to Dodger. The Nosilla Castaways would love Dodger.
The cats might not like that, but
cats would be right. We could put them in the closet.
Oh, let's. Well, I'm sure that's where they are. Grays flew up in the air there.
Because of the fireworks?
Yeah. All right, let's try that again. Okay, let's say that you can't let go of this illusory superiority of yours, that you really are the best driver on the road. But I hope I've convinced you that everyone else is delusional about their skills. As a result, they think they're awesome drivers while texting and talking on the phone, yelling at the kids in the back seat, and eating a sandwich and shaving and putting on makeup and every other idiotic thing we've seen people do while driving. No matter how skilled and attentive you are, you're still in danger because there are humans behind the wheel. Many are asking an interesting question about self-driving cars. Fix that.
So I have to ask, hi Dad.
Many are.
When you stop and continue on, but don't stop the recording, how are you marking the spot?
Oh, by dead silence.
Just looking for the dead silence.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't see me stop and then not talk for a second and be working, then.
So you're pretty confident you can spot all of the silent spots.
I try to make them long enough that I can see them.
Okay.
The last time I was worried I wouldn't, so I took my thumb and I was holding my thumb on my desk like this the whole time, just so that I would look down and go, why am I doing that? That was a reminder.
Got it.
Good question, though. In fact, if you remember that I did one, it's okay to remind me.
Do not touch your eye.
I have to move my contact. I can't see. Okay, now I had that perfectly queued up. What was I talking about? While driving. No matter how skilled it was, a pretty good little rant there, wasn't it? Okay. That was still because there are humans behind the wheel. Okay. I just found a typo. This is the problem. I see typos when I'm talking, and then as soon as I finish, I can't remember what they were.
This must be the one I didn't edit.
No, this is. You want this one? Who should the car save? I said, in interesting. That's what threw me, because it says Many are asking an interesting. Okay. Many are asking an interesting question about self-driving cars, and Tom Merritt called it the Kobayashi Maru, or the unwinnable scenario. The question is, what should a self-driving car do if faced with the choice of certain death of its passenger or certain death of multiple other people? First of all, why has no one responded to this question with the good of the many outweighs the good of the few? I mean, come on, seriously missed Star Trek quote opportunity there. The reason this question gets my ire up is because we never ask humans this question. What would I do in this scenario? What would you do? I bet of all the people reading or listening to this, we could get a really nice sampling of responses and still not have the right answer to that question. Why do we hold self-driving cars to a higher standard than ourselves? I also question the probability of A, that exact scenario happening, and B, that even if it did happen, how could we be certain that death could occur in either incident? Let's say a truck with a giant metal backplate comes to a dead stop in front of me on the freeway. I can be pretty certain this is going to end badly for me if I hit them. There is zero chance that I won't try to swerve. That increases the chances of someone else dying horribly, but I don't know that for certain. So how could a self-driving car know that? I find myself getting spun up every time this question is posed as though it's justification for not having self-driving cars. If we're just talking about it for the fun of it, that's okay. But I think asking this question increases people's fear of this new technology. The last thing that spins me up about self-driving cars discussion is the surveys. Most of the surveys that are out there seem to ask the question in the form, how afraid are you of giving up complete control to a machine? What do you think those surveys are going to show? In the book that Dr. Gary suggested we read, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, he talks about the concept of anchors and priming. The way we ask the questions and the information we give you beforehand influences your answer. Kahneman references a study by German psychologists Thomas Mosweiler and Fritz Strack, where they demonstrated the anchoring effect. They asked two separate groups to estimate the annual mean temperatures in Germany. One group was asked if the mean temperature was higher or lower than 20 degrees C. The second group was asked if the mean temp was higher or lower than 5 degrees C. The two temperatures, 5 degrees C and 20 degrees C, were the anchors. They then briefly showed the subjects a series of words. The subjects who heard the temperature 20 degrees C found it easier to recognize summer words like sun and beach, while those that heard the colder temperature recognized words like frost and ski. Obviously, these two tasks they asked them to do had nothing to do with each other, but the temperatures they're thinking about changed their answer to the unrelated task. The effect of anchoring is even more dramatic than the experiment I just described. From the same book, German judges with an average of more than 15 years on the bench were given a pair of dice to roll. The dice were set to roll either a 3 or a 9. After rolling the dice, they were asked about the theoretical case of a woman shoplifter. They had to say whether her sentence should be more or fewer months than what was shown on the dice. These are judges with 15 years of experience, yet on average, those who rolled a 9 said they'd sentence her to 8 months, and those who rolled a 3 averaged 5 months. So the roll of these dice affected their long-learned judgment, even though they knew it was completely uncorrelated. You can see how this concept of anchoring is so easy to use in manipulating surveys. Wow. There's not much left. Not much left of this old voice. But it's back by next week. All right. Have I missed anything? We had a local well-known greet at Costco swerved to avoid an accident from Wednesday morning, hit a utility pole and was killed. Oh, that's terrible. Hey, Steve, I just realized, why does Dodger have to come into my room?
Good point.
You've got a camera.
Yes, I guess we could. That's probably a better selection for the kiddies.
Yeah, I think so. All right, let's see. I would like to see the results of self-driving car study that had the following. Okay, I started that wrong. Cancel. Contact is sticky. There we go. I would like to see the results of a self-driving car study that had the following questions. How do you feel about the time you spend on your daily commute to and back from work? Do you find other drivers generally polite on the road? Have you ever been in an accident because of another person's stupidity? Do you enjoy being the designated driver when you and your friends go out in the evening? Do you wish you could get work done or chat with friends online or watch movies while driving? Do you think self-driving cars sound like a good idea? I'm betting we would see a completely different answer to the question surrounding self-driving cars. Sure, there are people out there, I'm looking at you, Steve, who will say that they enjoy driving, but I think a huge percentage of people, given those things to think about first, would answer positively about self-driving cars. I'd like to close this out with my impressions from firsthand experience in a Tesla Model S with the autopilot feature. Our buddy Ron recently upgraded to the most recent model so that gave Steve and me a chance to experience what it could do. Autopilot on the Tesla is designed for highway driving. The Tesla will read speed limit signs, adjust its distance automatically from the car in front of it, and maintain a safe distance at the posted speed limit, unless you tell it to go faster. At one point, Ron took his hands off the wheel, and a warning came up telling him not to be stupid and put his darn hands back on the wheel. It was more polite than that, but it was insistent that he do that. If you put your turn signal on, the car will actually check the traffic, and when it's clear, change over one lane for you in the direction you selected. Ron tested that out several times, and it worked flawlessly. It was probably the scariest thing to let it do, but it did a great job every time he tried it. Sometimes we do that. If I put okay, that's where I started screwing it up. Okay. If you put on your turn signal, the car will actually check traffic, and when it's clear, change one lane over for you in the direction you selected. Ron tested that out several times, and it worked flawlessly. It's probably the scariest thing to let it do, but it did a great job every time he tried it. We also gave autopilot a try while driving in stop-and-go traffic on the freeway. It's recommended only above 18 miles per hour, but we did it anyway in slower traffic. See how humans are the real problem? I have to say it was the best part of the self-driving experience to me. Ron was able to relax and let the car speed up, slow down, come to a complete stop, start back up again, and generally remove the most aggravating part, that is the kind of driving we do in Los Angeles. So overall, Steve, Ron, and I were delighted with the experience of a semi-automated car. But one thing did kind of scare us. We were going probably 60 miles an hour on the freeway when there was a slight dip on the left-hand side of our lane. After a lot of cars go through the same dip, they leave a little bit of oil, so all the dips are darker than the flat parts. This confused the Tesla, and it rather violently swerved towards the direction of the dip. This happened twice in about 2 hours of driving, and it was enough to convince Ron that they really mean it when they insist you keep your hands on the wheel. It sobered us up a bit from suggesting that the technology is totally ready. So in conclusion, I'm a huge fan of the concept of self-driving cars, and I think they can't get here soon enough. I picture a world where the elderly can get out and have fun, go to the doctor without assistance, where teenagers can text while being transported instead of dying at such a young age, where commuters don't experience road rage from 2-hour commutes, where no one ever drives drunk again. Sadly, this week, a Tesla Model S driver was killed while the car was in autopilot. A tractor trailer made a left turn in front of the Tesla, and the car failed to apply the brakes. The driver also failed to apply the brakes. The investigation has only just started into the incident, so we don't know whether it was avoidable had the driver been in control. Could have been the fault of the algorithm, or could have been the fault of the tractor trailer driver, or even the Tesla driver himself, but we don't really know. What we do know is that in 2015, 38,300 people died in vehicle-related accidents, going up 8% from 2014. That's the biggest percentage increase in 50 years. No matter what our illusory superiority tells us, we are not getting better at driving, and we are not getting safer. Let's get this self-driving car thing going, and let's do it as soon as we possibly can. Save. All right. Oh, that's nice, Sandy. Sandy says, my current Prius notifies me if I swerve out of my lane or if I'm too close to the car ahead. That's cool. Oh, sorry. I'm reading the chat room. You guys are talking about the Kobayashi Maru?
Yeah.
All right. I think we are done. I got to just do my little outro. All right. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me. Actually, what was that guy's name that did the I
think it was Captain Kirk.
The self-driving. Dumb question. Who was it? It was David Bogdan. On that rather serious note, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions like David Bogdan did, and comments and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. Follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Check out our new NosillaCast Google Plus community at podfeet.com/Google Plus and the Facebook group at podfeet.com/Facebook. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. I made it. See how long the gap is. We possibly can.
Good job, Podfeet.
On that, hang on just a second here. As we possibly can. On that rather serious note. All right. Maybe scooch that together a teeny bit. Oh, an HOV lane. Wait. Oh, to put them in their own zone. Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm going to go get Dodger. Dodger.
All right, I'm going to freeze the camera on him while I top and tail the show. So when he gets back, 26. Dodger's a good boy. He's a big teenager.
Okay.
Hey, I've got you on the big screen, Steve. Oh, geez.
I'll try and aim this so that you can see Dodger a little better. Okay, come here, boy.
Dodger.
Hold on, let's aim this down here. Let's say hello. He doesn't like when he's picked up, but he's a good boy.
Tesla's sad. She wants to be in that. She wants a piece of that action.
Yeah. Now, this is where he sits down and he just wants his back rubbed.
What the heck is happening? I am really getting tired of Amadeus Pro. I can't shift track anymore. Fine. I can't do a shift track by minutes anymore. Fine. I'm trying out Reaper. It's complicated though. It might be overkill. We got a lot of videos how to use it though. Ask Google Plus community at podfeet.com/Google. Stay subscribed. Well, it's a good thing I did all this, but it's 26 minutes. What? What are you laughing at? I can't hear you all of a sudden.
I was watching the replay.
The replay of what?
Dodger.
Of Dodger? Oh, and you're laughing at yourself? That's good. All right. Bye, Kevin. Love to the family. All right. I think I'm in pretty good shape here. Oh, I should have saved all this time. All right. Well, guys, my voice is killing me, so I think I might call it here while I finish editing. Happy 4th of July. Nice flag. Steve, you can do flags in...
Yeah, flag emojis.
How'd you do that?
They're out there. I just searched flag emoji.
Oh, and you pasted them right in?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. I'm going to call the live show because I can't talk anymore. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.
Bye.